I'm going to be talking about the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy and how it applies to the First Amendment. In this presentation, I will go over what Don't Ask, Don't Tell is, an overview of what has happened in recent years, its history, deaths that have affected Don't Ask, Don't Tell, how exactly it is a violation of the First Amendment, and what is in store for the future of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. As stated in an article, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is a policy which prohibits gays and lesbians from openly serving in the U.S. military on the basis that out gays and lesbians will decrease the military's ability to function by harming the military's strong levels of camaraderie and cohesion within its ranks. After years of having a ban on all homosexual Americans from serving in the military, then President Bill Clinton negotiated to create Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which meant if any gay or lesbian military personnel disclosed their sexual orientation, they were discharged. Don't Ask, Don't Tell comes from don't ask, don't tell, don't pursue, and don't harass. Because military officials were not allowed to question one's sexuality, a homosexual enlisted may not speak of their sexual orientation, and military personnel were not allowed to pursue or harass one about their sexuality. More recently, on September 20th, 2011, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed by President Obama, ending the silence of all those fighting that were also keeping their lives a secret. Having gays in the military has been around for hundreds of years. The first recalled incident dating back to 1778 during the Revolutionary War with Lieutenant Gotthold Frederick Enslin, who committed sodomy. In World War II, there were psychiatric screenings done to determine the sexuality of one about to enlist. If decided he was a homosexual, then he was discharged from the military. In a statement made in 1981, the Department of Defense stated that homosexuality is incompatible with military service. Events that have taken place that affected Don't Ask, Don't Tell are numerous, but the two most prominent are the deaths of Alan Schindler and Barry Winchell, both on different occasions. President Bill Clinton fought to have Don't Ask, Don't Tell put in place because of the murder of Seaman Alan Schindler on October 1992, who was brutally murdered for being gay. In another instance, after Don't Ask, Don't Tell was put in place, was the murder of Barry Winchell in 1999. He was suspected of being gay, thus beaten to death. This led many politicians to question the effectiveness of the policy. So how exactly is this a violation of the First Amendment? The First Amendment protects the right to freedom of expression from government interference, under which there is also freedom of speech and press. These men and women were risking their lives for the country and still were unable to express who they were. The Declaration of Independence states that all men are created equal, but gays in the military were not treated as such under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. One's sexual orientation does not affect one's ability to fight for the country. The government decided whether or not that it was acceptable for homosexuals to be in the military and expose who they truly were. It was said that gays and lesbians would decrease the military's strong levels of cohesion. However, whatever may be one's race, gender, or sexual orientation, they are all together for one reason: their love for the country they are fighting for. In the next slide is a short video of the events after the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
They want to put their lives on the line for our security and our freedom. Does it make any sense to say no to them?
Some have said this is not the time to repeal this policy. And they're right. It should have been done yesterday.
In a statement, the president said, "No longer will many thousands more be asked to live a lie in order to serve the country they love."
Wow, what a day.
A number of those servicemen and women were on hand at the Capitol for the historic moment. More than 13,000 have been kicked out of the military since the law was enacted in 1993. But this afternoon, they got the last word.
Soon we can serve in the military without having to sacrifice our honor, our integrity, without having to lie every day about who we are.
But change won't come overnight. Following the president's signature, the Pentagon will begin an implementation plan followed by a 60-day wait period. The defense secretary has said it could take up to a year before Don't Ask, Don't Tell is officially history. Anthony?
What does this mean for the future of the military and the gay and lesbian community? With the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, gays and lesbians can now openly serve in the military, but as said in the video shown, it can take up to a year to be instated. This can also mean more open doors for the gay rights movements. This also means more men and women to be enlisting and less discharges from the military. However, the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell can easily be reversed with the upcoming re-election because whoever is elected president can change the policy as some presidential candidates have expressed.